Picture this exact moment, because if you have ever driven a car in your life, you have lived through this nightmare, and it never gets less terrifying no matter how many times it happens to you. It is 11 o'clock at night. You are on a dark, four-lane highway doing 65 miles per hour. The road markings are barely visible, and then it happens. The sky just opens up. Not a drizzle, not a light shower, a full violent downpour that hits your windshield like someone turned a fire hose directly at your face, and in that split second, your entire field of vision disappears. Your windshield does not just get wet, it transforms into this warped, glowing, blurry wall of distorted light where every single oncoming headlight explodes into a blinding starburst smear, and every lane line underneath you vanishes into a dark gray blur. You cannot see the car in front of you. You cannot see the shoulder. You can barely read the highway signs. Your heart is hammering because you are piloting 2 tons of metal at freeway speed, and you are essentially flying blind. And your wipers are going full speed, but they are not clearing anything because the water is not running off your windshield. It is grabbing onto it, sheeting across it in these thick rolling curtains that your blades just push around in useless smearing arcs. And you are sitting there white-knuckling the steering wheel thinking about that $15 bottle of premium rain repellent you bought 3 weeks ago at the auto parts store. The one with the slick black label and the dramatic marketing copy about hydrophobic nanotechnology and military-grade water repulsion and crystal-clear visibility in the most extreme driving conditions. The one you spent 20 minutes carefully applying on a Saturday afternoon, following every single instruction on the back of the bottle, because you wanted to be prepared. You wanted that rain to beat up beautifully and roll off your glass like water on a freshly waxed hood. But instead of beating, instead of sheeting, instead of doing anything remotely close to what the bottle promised, every single time your wiper blades make contact with that treated glass, you get this awful, smeary, milky white ghosting haze that smears horizontally across your entire line of sight. Every swipe of the blade leaves a translucent film that catches the light from every street lamp and oncoming car and turns your windshield into a frosted privacy screen. You paid $15 for a product that made your nighttime visibility dramatically worse than it was before you applied it. And now you are on a dark highway in a storm, wondering if you are about to become a statistic. That is not a fluke. That is not user error. That is not a bad batch from the factory. That is the product working exactly as designed, and I am going to explain precisely why that is the case and exactly what you should be using instead. Because the answer costs $1, it is already in your medicine cabinet right now, and the chemistry behind it is so clean and so logical that once you understand it, you will never waste money on a bottled glass treatment again in your life. Here is the secret that the entire automotive detailing chemical industry does not want you to sit down and think about too carefully. Grab a bottle of basic 3% hydrogen peroxide from the pharmacy aisle. The standard brown bottle with the white cap that costs somewhere between 80 cents and $1.20, depending on where you shop. The exact same bottle that has been sitting in bathroom medicine cabinets for wound cleaning and antiseptic purposes for over a century. That is your windshield rain repellent. That is the product that will chemically reset your glass surface into a state of genuine hyperhydrophobia in under 60 seconds flat. No special applicator pads, no waiting periods, no buffing compounds, no hardware store chemicals, no proprietary nano-coating kits. $1, one bottle. Pure oxidizing chemistry that works at the molecular level to transform the way water physically interacts with your glass. And the reason it works so powerfully and so permanently, compared to anything that comes in a spray bottle with a detailing brand logo on it, comes down to what is actually happening on the surface of your windshield right now at a level too small for you to see with the naked eye, because your windshield is not just glass. It is glass covered in an invisible layer of contamination that you have been unknowingly driving around with for months or years, and that contamination is the actual reason rain refuses to run off your windshield cleanly. Hydrogen peroxide does not coat over that contamination the way silicone sprays do. It destroys it at the chemical bond level in real time, and when it is gone, what is left underneath is raw, clean, molecularly pure glass that water physically cannot find purchase on. That is not marketing language. That is oxidation chemistry. And it is the same reaction that has been sterilizing wounds and bleaching organic stains since before any of these detailing companies existed. Let me be extremely direct with you about something. The major automotive chemical brands that sell you $15 and $20 windshield rain repellents are not selling you a superior technology. They are selling you a maintenance trap. These companies have research and development departments, they have chemists on staff. They absolutely know that the silicone and alcohol based formulas they put into those spray bottles are going to degrade within 2 weeks under normal UV exposure. They know that the alcohol carrier evaporates almost instantly and leaves behind a silicone residue that is thermally unstable in direct sunlight. They know that residue is going to attract and bond to airborne dust and road particulate and slowly transform into a contaminated layer of sticky grime on your glass. They know that layer is going to interfere with your wiper blade contact and cause streaking and chatter and smearing. And they know that when you experience those problems, the standard advice from every detailing forum and every brand-sponsored YouTube channel is to buy their dedicated glass stripper product to remove the bad silicone layer so you can then apply a fresh coat of the same silicone rain. Repellent that created the problem in the first place. It is a closed loop. Buy the repellent. Repellent degrades and causes streaking. Buy the glass cleaner to strip it. Buy new wiper blades because the old ones are coated in degraded silicone. Buy a new repellent, repeat the cycle indefinitely. That cycle generates hundreds of millions of dollars in repeat purchases for companies that could have just told you to use hydrogen peroxide. Subscribe right now and join this community because what we do here is break that cycle permanently. Every single video on this channel is built around the same core mission: exposing the predatory repeat purchase formulas that the automotive chemical industry depends on and replacing them with direct, honest, chemistry-backed alternatives that cost almost nothing. Hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss the next one, and share this video the moment it is over because your friends are getting fleeced at the auto parts store right now and they do not know it. Now let me give you the full chemistry so you understand exactly why this works at a level that goes deeper than just my word against a marketing department. Glass at its most fundamental level is silicon dioxide, which is an extremely smooth, non-porous, inorganic surface. At a molecular level, fresh, clean glass has very low surface energy, which means water cannot find microscopic valleys and peaks to cling to, so it naturally beads and runs off. That is what brand new glass does. But your windshield is not new glass. Every single mile you drive, your windshield is being continuously bombarded with airborne contamination. Exhaust soot from diesel trucks, vaporized road oil kicked up from the asphalt surface, industrial fallout from manufacturing zones near highways, tree pollen and organic compounds from overhanging vegetation, atmospheric hydrocarbons from urban pollution. Every single one of these compounds contains carbon-based organic molecules, and those molecules have a chemical affinity for the silicon dioxide surface of your glass. Over weeks and months of driving, they form a microscopically thin but chemically dense invisible film across your entire windshield. You cannot see it in daylight, you cannot feel it with your finger. But it is there, bonded at the molecular level to your glass surface, and it is fundamentally changing how water interacts with your windshield. That organic film has a high surface energy compared to bare glass. It has microscopic texture at the molecular level that gives water molecules something to grip. It is chemically similar in many ways to the organic compounds in the water itself, which means water does not want to run away from it, it wants to spread across it in flat, vision-distorting sheets. That is why rain grabs your windshield instead of running off. It is not the glass failing. It is that invisible organic contamination layer acting as a sponge and an anchor for every raindrop that hits your car. Now here is where hydrogen peroxide performs a function that no silicone spray can touch. Hydrogen peroxide at the molecular level is water with one extra oxygen atom, H2O2 versus H2O. And that extra oxygen atom is extraordinarily unstable. The moment hydrogen peroxide contacts any organic material, that unstable oxygen atom breaks away from the molecule in a rapid oxidation reaction. It attacks the carbon bonds in the organic film on your glass with enormous chemical force. It does not clean around the contamination the way a soap does. It does not temporarily cover it the way a silicone coating does. It fractures those carbon bonds and chemically converts the organic molecules into simple water and oxygen gas, which is exactly why you see that slight bubbling reaction happening on the glass surface during application. That bubbling is the organic road film being oxidized and physically lifted away from the silicon dioxide surface of your glass in real time. What is left after that reaction completes is not glass with a new coating on top of it. It is bare, clean, molecularly pure silicon dioxide with a surface energy so low that water physically cannot form the adhesion needed to sheet across it. Rain hits that clean glass surface and instantly contracts into rolling droplets that slide off under their own weight because there is nothing there for them to grab onto. That is genuine hydrophobicity. Not a coating, simulating it, the actual physical property of clean glass expressing itself. And that is the distinction that makes every expensive spray-on coating completely unnecessary. Now, I want to specifically dismantle the UV degradation problem with silicone-based glass coatings because this is the part that actively destroys your wiper blades and costs you real money beyond just the price of the repellent. Bottle. When you apply a standard spray-on windshield sealant, you are depositing a thin film of siloxane polymer, which is the chemical family that silicone belongs to, onto the surface of your glass. In a laboratory, under controlled temperature and UV conditions, that polymer film can actually exhibit decent hydrophobic properties for a short time. The problem is that your windshield is not in a laboratory. It is on the outside of a vehicle that sits in direct sunlight for hours every single day. And siloxane polymers are highly susceptible to UV photodegradation. Ultraviolet radiation from direct sunlight breaks down the polymer chains in that silicone film over a period of approximately 10 to 14 days of normal outdoor exposure. As the polymer chains break down, the film does not simply disappear cleanly. It becomes a sticky, fragmented residue of partially degraded silicone compounds on your glass surface. And that sticky residue does two things that are catastrophically bad for your driving safety. First, it becomes a powerful trap for airborne particulate. Dust, pollen, exhaust carbon, road grit, all of it begins to adhere to the degraded silicone residue on your glass. This particulate layer is microscopically abrasive. When your wiper blades drag across a glass surface embedded with that abrasive silicone particulate mixture, the rubber edge of your wiper blade is being ground against a surface, similar in effect to very fine sandpaper on every single swipe. The wiper blade edge becomes torn, irregular, and hardened over a period of weeks. That destroyed wiper blade then cannot form a proper squeegee contact with the glass, so instead of clearing water, it smears it in arcs across your field of vision. You go buy new wiper blades wondering why they wore out so fast. The answer is the glass coating you applied to protect your visibility. Second, the degraded silicone residue itself smears when wet. During rain, the water activates that sticky degraded film and your wiper blades drag it horizontally across your windshield in those milky white haze streaks I described at the beginning of this video. That is not water haze. That is degraded silicone being redistributed across your glass surface by your wiper blades in real time. Every swipe is making it worse, because every swipe is spreading the contamination further across the glass. You are not cleaning water off your windshield. You are painting it with broken down petrochemical residue while traveling at highway speed. Hydrogen peroxide leaves none of this behind. The oxidation reaction produces water and oxygen. Both of those evaporate completely off your glass surface. There is no residue layer, there is no sticky film. There is no UV degradable coating. There is clean glass, and clean glass does not destroy wiper blades. The application process is straightforward, fast, and requires nothing beyond what you already have. Start by washing your windshield with your normal car wash soap and rinse it completely clean so you are not trapping any loose surface dirt under the peroxide reaction. Do not use any glass cleaner with ammonia or alcohol before this step because those compounds will partially neutralize the oxidizing reaction and reduce the effectiveness of the peroxide on the organic film. Once the glass is clean and rinsed, take a fresh microfiber towel, fold it into quarters so you have a thick working surface, and pour a generous amount of hydrogen peroxide directly onto the towel until it is thoroughly saturated. You want enough solution on that towel that you can see the fabric is wet, not just damp. Then begin wiping the peroxide across the glass surface in slow, overlapping horizontal passes covering the entire windshield from top to bottom. As you wipe, you will likely notice a very faint, subtle foaming or bubbling happening at the surface of the glass. That reaction is the visual confirmation that the oxidation process is working. That is, the organic road film being broken down at the carbon bond level in real time. Once you have covered the entire glass surface, set the towel aside and let the peroxide solution sit and work on the glass for a full 30 seconds without touching it. Do not rush this step. That 30-second dwell time is when the majority of the deep oxidation of the bonded organic compounds is occurring. After 30 seconds, take a completely dry, clean microfiber towel and buff the glass surface completely dry using firm circular passes. The surface should buff to a perfectly clear, streak-free finish with no film or residue visible at any angle. That is it. Application complete. The entire process from towel to dry glass takes under 2 minutes. Now here is the critical safety warning that you absolutely must understand before you begin this process, because ignoring it will cost you real money in trim restoration products. Hydrogen peroxide is an aggressive oxidizing agent, and it does not discriminate between organic road film on your glass and the organic polymer compounds that make up your exterior rubber and plastic trim. The black rubber window seals that run around the perimeter of your windshield and the plastic cowl trim panel that sits at the base of the windshield where it meets the hood are both highly vulnerable to hydrogen peroxide oxidation. If you allow concentrated peroxide solution to drip, pool, or sit on those surfaces and dry in place, the oxidizing reaction will attack the carbon-based polymer chains in the rubber and plastic and cause rapid surface degradation. The visual result is permanent, chalky white oxidation bleaching on the trim surface that you cannot wash off because the damage is structural to the material itself, not a surface stain. You will then need an exterior plastic restorer or a rubber trim coating to mask that chemical damage, and some severely oxidized trim surfaces will not respond even to those products. To prevent this, keep your microfiber towel well away from the window seal edges during application and immediately wipe up any drips that contact the rubber or plastic with a clean, dry cloth before they can dwell and dry on the surface. Take your time around the edges of the glass and the method is completely safe. Rush through it carelessly and you will have permanent white bleaching on your rubber seals within minutes. Be precise and you will have flawless clean glass in 2 minutes flat. So let us put this into a final comparison that is impossible to argue with. On one side of this equation, you have a $15 spray bottle from the auto parts store that contains a silicone polymer formula that takes 15 minutes to apply, requires you to buff it in specific patterns, gives you approximately 10 to 14 days of marginal performance before UV degradation begins, then leaves a sticky, deteriorating residue on your glass that attracts abrasive particulate, destroys your wiper blade edges prematurely, creates milky white haze streaks across your windshield during the exact conditions when you need perfect visibility the most, and requires you to purchase both a dedicated glass stripper and a new set of wiper blades before the cycle resets and you buy the repellent again. On the other side, you have a $1 brown bottle from the pharmacy aisle that contains 3% hydrogen peroxide, takes under 2 minutes to apply with a microfiber towel, uses a pure oxidation reaction to remove the actual root cause of water adhesion at the molecular level rather than layering a temporary coating over it, leaves absolutely zero residue on the glass surface, does not degrade under UV exposure because there is nothing there to degrade, does not interact with your wiper blades at all because clean glass does not transfer contamination to rubber, and produces a glass surface that sheds rain in clean rolling sheets during nighttime highway driving without a single streak or haze in your line of sight. $1 versus $15, chemical problem solving versus chemical dependency, root cause elimination versus symptom management. This is not a close comparison, and the only reason you did not already know about it is because the company that makes the $1 solution has no marketing budget for YouTube pre-roll ads and detailing magazine spreads. If you are watching this video right now and you have a friend, a family member, a coworker, anyone in your life who dreads driving in the rain because their windshield turns into a blurry nightmare and their wipers smear more than they clear, send them this video right now before you do anything else. Not because it costs them anything to know this, because the next storm does not care whether they bought the right product yet. And clear visibility at highway speed in a downpour is not a comfort feature. It is a safety feature. Share this immediately. Subscribe if you are not already here. And the next video is going to expose another automotive product category built entirely around the same repeat purchase trap. You are not going to want to miss